Today we talk about. So yeah, I mean I've done a bunch of these without you, but and I'm way behind.
Have you? How many have you done without me?
I can't remember. I'm so behind.
Like two.
3. I don't remember.
He's so mad.
I am.
Yeah, he should be.
I can't believe you would cheat on me like that.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Oh my
Hey, I
God.
asked you to come, but if you don't come, you don't come.
All right.
Hey. All right, so this is episode whatever. We have a special guest here, Claire.
First woman.
Yeah, first woman on the podcast, so only natural we offer her.
Bust them out.
Ah, great, I'm broken. Okay. Are these broken?
This doesn't happen with normal cigarettes.
Let me get a fresh batch here. See what broken? These.
How old are you?
I'm 22, so yes, I can legally
Jesus
smoke.
Christ, yeah. I don't know if you can smoke. You're 22?
Yeah. One time I was in a short film that my friend made, but I was 17 at the time, and he wanted me to smoke a cigarette, and I was like, no.
Took a turn.
I was like, I will not do that because that's illegal. It was like 2 months before my birthday. And so what we did was we had somebody who was 18 who bought the
You wouldn't
cigarettes.
smoke a cigarette
I
in a
wouldn't.
film because
No,
you thought it was
no.
illegal
Oh, I
at
was
17?
so.
That's
I
weird.
was so like straight edge.
These are very legal.
Oh.
If you're interested.
Oh, it's slanted.
Only the best here on
That's
the
interesting.
podcast. Yeah. So, what's your deal?
Well,
Oh.
oh boy.
The fuck are you?
But no, why don't you give us a little rundown? Like, so obviously you're a comedian. I like to
Yeah.
have comedians on here. And why don't you give us a rundown of like when you started doing comedy?
Well, it's funny. I actually have a joke about it, like because people always ask me like how long I've been doing stand up, and I feel like it's like when the doctor asks you if you're sexually active, you're like, I mean, like, well, I did it like once when I was 17, and then then I didn't do it for a while. But I practice at home by myself all the time. But no, I did start. I started when I was in high school because I did theater and I wasn't getting cast in a lot of shows.
All right, we talked about this.
Yeah, and so then I decided to go to this art school for the second half of the day.
Okay.
And then in my second semester there, we did a comedy class, and we did like clowning and stuff.
In
and,
high school?
Yes, in my arts, in my special arts
Like
high
red
school.
nose bombing?
Yes, yeah. Like you weren't allowed to talk. And
miming.
yeah, miming, but also you're a clown. It's so weird. I still don't understand it. It's actually really interesting, but I learned a lot about that. And then we had a stand-up unit, and I knew I was like, I'm feeling pretty confident about it. Like I thought I was going to do well, and then I did it, and I did like way better than I thought. Like I was making jokes about like fixing the printer, and my dad yelling at me for fixing the printer, and like everybody laughed, and I didn't think I was gonna reach
That
like
old man.
everybody. Yeah, you guys know my dad.
Yeah, you know.
That shit.
And the teacher like brought in other teachers to like see, and I was like, I'm good at this.
Interesting.
And then I didn't do it for
And
a while.
Where was this?
That was in Connecticut.
In
like,
Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where you grew up.
Yeah. I grew up in Connecticut.
And then did you move out
You
here
seem
for
like a Connecticut
comedy?
girl.
Really?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
I
no,
give
no.
off that vibe by like
Did you wear the
my
Yankees hat
Urban
to prove-
Outfitters sweater?
To prove that you're,
Well, this
I'm
is,
not from
this is
Connecticut.
cool. I got this Yankees hat for free.
It shows.
One time, yeah, I know it. It looks like garbage now. But I didn't want to like wear my sorority hat
Right,
because I'm
no,
like,
yeah.
what if I say something really bad? I was
You
like,
wear the
I only
CG
have two. Yeah.
Go
or my
Hartford,
brother's
whatever.
school. No, I got it for free because I sang the national anthem on a Yankees game once.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
In a chorus, like it wasn't just me.
Oh. Get out of here.
I mean, you gotta open with
That's
that.
the most loophole thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, it was still pretty cool.
I sang
Can you introduce us
In the
to
stand,
A-Rod?
Yeah.
in the stands.
Yeah.
I mean, like, no. It was
Sitting
like,
with.
I was like outside the stadium.
Come on.
But when did you move to New York?
So Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you
Yeah, like
literally
last
moved
Wednesday, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Most people we have on the podcast have been here like a couple months.
Yeah, actually, yeah. And then, so were you still in Connecticut up until then, or?
So I graduated from
mentioned Philly
college.
at
Yeah,
some
I
point.
graduated from college last May, and I was at home and I was working at a bar for the longest time, and I was just looking for jobs in New York the whole time, and nothing was picking up because I was a communications major. And so I was looking for like video editing jobs, and I had like a lot of interviews, but nothing just went through. And my uncle and aunt own a photography company in Philadelphia, so they were like, "Oh, like we'll get you, we'll see if we can help you get jobs in New York." So then I moved to Philadelphia, which was so weird to explain to everybody in Philadelphia. They're like, "Oh, why are you here?" I'm like, "Not to be here. Just I'm trying to go somewhere else." Like nobody understood. But it was cool, and I lived there for about 2 months, and then I got into some production work there, and then I got a job, like a production job in Brooklyn
Okay.
for a week. So, like 2 weeks ago, I came here to do that, and I stayed with a friend, and
We're in Brooklyn.
it was like, it was all over Brooklyn. It was like the first first location we were at is like right near where I live now, which is so cool. Like right next to Prospect Park. That's where I live, everyone. And
Address.
What floor?
You locked your door?
no, I just like I mean I'm new. I want to make new friends. Come visit me.
So you moved here Wednesday, and then the stand-up part. Were you doing stand-up in Philly too?
Oh yeah, I love doing stand-up in Philly. I was doing stand-up in Philly every single day, like 2-3 mics a night, and it's always hard at first, like getting into. I felt like I was like an army brat of stand-up because I started doing stand-up in Connecticut, and as soon as I made friends doing stand-up in Connecticut, I moved to Philly. And then as soon as I made good friends in Philly doing stand-up, I had to move to New York. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be stressful. But I mean, obviously it's working out great now. But
Well.
it was, we'll see
You've been
how
here
it
since
goes.
Wednesday.
We'll be the judge.
It's been like 4 days.
But we're not best friends yet. I mean, like, I'm at your house. I thought,
No.
this is like 4 best friend steps.
Well, that's a house.
already. Yeah.
Yeah, like we said, he hates everything about this. So,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah. So, so then, how did you get around to meeting people in this comedy scene? Did you know comics here before you moved, or?
Well, actually, yeah, I did. I knew a couple from stuff I've done in Connecticut, just like, and I one time did a show at Fairfield Comedy Club, which was really cool because I opened for Doug Smith, who is a really cool guy. He's super cool.
Most
and
comics
so
tend to
handsome.
be pretty cool, I find.
Yeah, like he's like a pro, so I was like, and it was like my first time being in a green room, and I was like, this is my first time being in a green room.
Oh, that's
which is,
cool.
Which is no, that but just don't ever say that if
Oh,
it's
I
your
will.
first time being in a green room. They're like, oh, but they're very friendly. It was.
I can't wait for my first time. I'm really like, this sucks.
Well, yeah, they didn't have booze, so I was like, what the fuck is the point?
Nice grapes.
I was like, they're like, do you want a cigar? And I was like, no.
I
Want some
want.
grapes? I did bring these grapes over for a reason. Do you want some?
I had some.
Okay.
They're lovely.
He was excited to bring the grapes.
I was happy.
I should have brought something.
No, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's,
I have some ramen. It's
Hey.
vegetarian ramen.
so, now are
Actually, could
you?
you compare the Philly scene with the New York scene?
I
Like open
haven't
mics.
done enough in the New York scene to be able to say that.
You were kind of hinting yesterday on the subway that you felt like it wasn't as supportive in Philly.
Oh no, it is. It was really supportive in Philly.
It is.
Yeah, I was like I think I had a hard
Now we
time
got it
like
on
getting
tape,
a
so.
start in like Connecticut, I think. But also, I wasn't doing stand up every single day in
Okay.
Connecticut, like because I was working at a bar, so I was like doing one mic on a Monday, one mic on Tuesday, and then like, you know, pouring shots for drunk 60-year-old men like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Another camera.
Yes. I'm not gonna put on my resume.
Yeah, no, we'll plug that.
Yeah. I but used to like be like, I'll take a shot with you, and then old men would be like, okay, and then I'd be like, sweet, they're paying for me to get drunk with that. It was awesome.
Did you ever try your stand up on that?
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, yes, I did. It was awesome. My boss would let me sometimes like perform just when it was when I didn't have any tables, or like when my tables had you know, everyone was kind of settled. My boss would let me go on stage like perform,
Nice.
and that like it was really sexist. Like men would come up after and be like, you know, that was great, but like
That's
it was,
sexist.
yeah, they'd be like,
I wanna touch
sweetie, that was great, but
Oh.
it would be just a little more funny if like you did this. And I was like, okay, dude who's had 3 Bud Lights, like, thank you so much for your wisdom.
I think
I've
your
seen-
act is pretty funny. What I saw last night, because I didn't feel like you don't play too much off the woman thing. How do you feel about women that mostly play off the trope of being like, I'm a woman, I have sex, my vagina?
Well, I mean, like, Sarah, like when you say my
There's the
vagina, the
easy
first
ones.
person I think of like Sarah Silverman, who I think is an incredible comedian.
I think
And-
Amy Schumer.
Yeah, also Amy Schumer, who I love a lot too. But
I used to love Sarah.
you think she's the worst?
No, I said she's gotten worse. I used to love Sarah
Oh,
Silverman back in the 90s.
I thought I really loved her more recent Netflix special. I really liked that.
Is that the one where she's like in leather?
No. She has one where
It's
she's
called
pregnant.
Growing.
Yeah.
Oh, she's pregnant?
Yeah.
Who the?
She's married. She's pregnant. She's all these things that I don't want to be.
Yeah, smoke up to that.
Well, you're 22.
Yeah, I had a dream last night. I was pregnant with Zac Efron's kids. True story. At first it was Chris D'Elia, but then it turned
You said
into
Zach.
Zac
I
Efron.
was like, wait.
Yeah, yeah.
Zac Efron. You spell her name the
yeah.
same way. Which pisses me off because he stole it from me. I've been spelling it
Obviously.
ABC for
Yes.
fucking ever. Since
Yes,
fourth grade. And
definitely.
then Zac Efron, a High School Musical, came out.
Is you tight?
Ruined me.
That's definitely how that happened.
I'm gonna catch him.
Okay. All right. We'll see how it goes.
Or replace that name.
We'll see.
I'll be like, look, Efron, you're putting a fucking H at the end of that.
I'll tell him next time I have a dream about him.
H or K, it's your choice, buddy.
At least name your kids Zac Efron. Make sure that it's an H.
Yeah, it was super weird. He wasn't a good husband. I was really sad.
Huh.
Well, we weren't married, so I mean
Oh.
that's why. But
That's probably why I wasn't a good husband.
he wasn't supportive,
Definitely
and
not.
I was like, come on, like it was really emotional.
Are you a big fan of his already, or
No,
this
I
was
mean, yeah, like just as much as any other straight woman.
Mm.
But I mean, it was just kind of random. I was like, oh, didn't expect to see you here.
I've heard he looks childish. I don't think all women like him.
I think he's. I mean, like,
He was like a teenager.
yeah. I don't. Well,
Hot
not as much as he
You
used
said it.
to.
Yeah, like a Justin Bieber vibe, I
He's
would
like a
say,
kid.
right? Same demographic,
Yeah.
I would
He's
say, right?
It's different from
I
like
think-
The Rock or somebody like that.
I think he's hot. I just think he's like been hot for a long time, and I'm just like, okay, like,
He's giving me Jared Leto vibes in terms of like he's in fucking everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
What's he in? Baywatch? What else has he been in?
Me too.
Oh, I thought that was
I
really
can't believe
funny.
this segment. Zac Efron. But no, wait. Oh, you saw the movie? Was it good?
Yeah, well, okay, because I was expecting it to be the worst thing I've ever seen. I watched it when I was like, I watched it after I pulled an all-nighter, and I was like, I need to fall asleep. Like, I need something boring. And actually, I was watching it, and I died laughing.
Baywatch.
It totally exceeded my expectations. I was like, I think maybe I was laughing in an ironic way because it was just like, it's so bad, but it's also really funny.
I think she's the second hottest chick on the planet, the chick in Baywatch.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me. I was like, what?
Wait, which chick? Which chick are we talking about?
Wait, why the second hottest?
Because the first one's a chick from Jumanji.
I don't know.
Who's the
I didn't
girl?
see
I
it.
don't even know.
Are you talking about the one with the big boobs with brown hair?
I mean, that describes most of the time. No, yeah, the chick in
I haven't seen the movie, so I have no.
she's in True Detective too.
Don't want to. So.
You know who I'm talking about.
Is it the brown hair one?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's. I know her from Percy Jackson, but yeah.
Who is?
Oh, and she was in some other movie with The Rock.
Do you know her name?
No.
Great. All right. Well, this is productive.
Big boob lady.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Google big tits.
She was in.
She'll be doing the top five.
Safe search off. she was also in an episode of New Girl that I watched the other day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
God, wait, New Girl? Like
I used
the
to
one
watch
from...
that. Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, it's not. It's not Zoe.
I know
Deschanel.
it's not Zoe.
I'm thinking
I
of that
can't
chick.
picture her in fucking
What
Baywatch.
the hell is that show that I'm thinking of? The one where it's set in New York?
Girls.
No. The one where she's like talking to her diary.
No idea.
Fuck. No, come on.
Marvelous
Judy
Mrs.
Blume.
Maisel.
Fuck, I
Ah. Oh my god! If I had $1 for every time somebody said, "Have you watched? Oh, you do stand-up comedy? Have you seen?"
Why are you looking at me,
Basil?"
Because I say this to every podcast. I had a bit about that.
Are you
I was like,
serious?
"Can everybody shut the fuck up about Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?"
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
anytime I
That's the
talk-
whole bit, by the way.
That's the bit. I'm like,
The punchline is, "Am I right,
no, I do
guys?"
it over my- I know, I
But
just,
no, it's true.
It's true. I do it open mics. I'm like, we're all comedians here. Anybody sick and tired of hearing about the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Oh my
And
God.
That's the bit.
Ah,
And people laugh.
but, like,
They're
it's so
yeah,
true.
Everybody fucking says it.
Like there's two types of people I feel like. There's so you say I'm a comedian, and there's one type of person that are like, oh, you're a comedian? Tell me a joke. Come on, prove it to me. And then
Be funny.
the nice people are like, oh, have you seen Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? I hate both of these types of people.
I don't
but
hate either of
I
them.
think that
And I'll tell you why. They're both genuinely just trying to connect with you as a human being, and they're like, "Oh, this is something in common we have. We can talk about."
That's true.
The say something funny thing is a little worse, I guess, but it's just coming from the same place of like, "Oh, you are this thing, so do the thing." It's like
yeah.
they don't give it additional thought than that. You know?
It's just like I feel maybe it's because I have a chip
Gossip
on my
Girl.
shoulder.
Sorry, that's what I was thinking of. Gossip Girl.
Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, well, I can't go back from that.
No, I'm sorry. I just got so excited when I actually found it out.
Gossip Girl.
I
Wait,
was
she
Googling
was
it,
on
the
Gossip
weird-
Girl. We used to
No.
know her name.
I was just googling the weirdest stuff to find out what the fuck show I was talking about.
You watch Gossip
XOXO.
Girl?
No, I don't, but I've seen it, and that's what the show I thought we were talking about. XOXO Gossip Girl.
No.
He's not in that. I think you're thinking of Chuck Bass.
No, I'm thinking. No, she's not in that. That has.
No, it's not a girl. It's a guy.
It has nothing to do with the girl we
Yeah,
were talking
Chuck
about.
Bass, that girl. Yeah.
XOXO Gossip Girl.
Oh my god. Anyway, this is what I have to deal with.
Oh, the comments are really mean to me.
This is why I smoke.
We're just gonna get a chase like a party quit.
Comedy?
No,
No,
Rob.
no, no.
Rob.
We gave him like the cigarette.
Oh, that's funny.
You briefly met him. He actually is in Connecticut. He's based out of Connecticut. The pilot.
I know.
Rob, yeah.
You don't even remember his name.
I don't remember anybody's name.
That's true. That's-
Rodrigo.
Yeah, he called
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, isn't he flying you or
Yeah,
teaching
Rodrigo.
you how to fly?
I'm not gonna. I'll be like, yo, Chris.
Hey, dude.
I thought your name was Ashley. So it's like, yeah, when's Ashley getting there?
I don't know why, but I'm like a little offended.
You don't think you look like an Ashley?
No!
You're an Ashley. You don't know it yet.
I'm
You'll
not
know
blonde
when,
enough.
You'll know when you're older.
So the thing
Ah,
is,
that is.
now, what you have to understand about him is he does this. We call it Reynoldsing. And what that means is, yeah, well, there's this kid whose name wasn't Reynolds back in college.
Ian something.
He just started calling him Reynolds.
I thought his name was Reynolds.
And now everyone to this day, including his wife, calls him Reynolds.
Reynolds.
Actually, no, that's fine. I did that the other day with a bar. And my friends were like, oh, yeah, we're going to Father Knows Best. And I was like, for some reason, I was drunk. So I was like, what's that bar? The Ugly Frog? And they're like, Claire, no, that's not what it is at all.
That's a great name for a bar.
Yeah. Well, okay, so many bars are like the adjective animal.
Ugly Frog's a great.
Ugly Frog. I could name you 5. Blind Pig, Hungry Tiger, White Dog.
People love animals.
People love animals and describing them in like
And adjectives.
And frogs.
the drunk slut that is my Twitter name.
that cheating whore. That's what we do in my bar.
You guys want to be there tonight?
You guys want to meet at my ex-wife's place?
We'll be there all night.
It's not bad.
Trust me.
We still do. He did it with someone else too. There was a kid we were playing basketball with once named Dylan, and he just started calling him Moses. And to this
You
day,
look like a Moses.
we still call him Moses to this day.
Do you guys know anybody named Moses?
No. God damn it. All right.
We're
Anyway.
absolutely awful.
Oh no, you should
I
have
can't wait
done
for
one yesterday.
my parents
I
to
did.
watch
I
it.
did defend Hitler yesterday.
You offended him?
Defend.
Oh.
He
Dunkirk.
likes being a contrarian a lot.
No, but I like
Yeah.
war history.
Yeah,
It's all lied
he
about
loves
now.
Felix history, sort of. He
Oh.
can't remember anyone's fucking name.
I'm like, yeah, what's his name? Oh, Hitler.
Oh, dude.
Robert E. Lee?
You should have seen this. This was beautiful. So just before you got here, the reason I told you not to come earlier, which thank
Oh,
God you
this
were,
wasn't.
yeah, thank God you were even late.
I'm getting called back. I'm telling you. I'm getting called back.
Yeah.
I
Well,
told her about
let's
that
set this
problem.
up. Oh yeah, he told you about this,
The math
but
problem.
you didn't hear my side of it. So I'm sitting there, and he was like, "Yo, I got this phone interview, so tell her to come after the phone interview." And you were already running late, and thank God because he took so
Only time
fucking-
anyone's ever said that.
Yeah, he took so fucking long with this math problem. They gave him an extra 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
So let me help you out.
Well,
with
I
this.
had all the variables. They were like, just fucking finish it. And I was like, I don't know what
Yeah.
to do.
And it's,
Did
and it's
they actually say that?
No, he was like, you said every number correct. Just like,
he was trying to walk him through the math problem.
no, but I got all the variables correct.
So
I just said
wait,
finish
time
it.
out. Let me set this up. So you had a
Ask
job
them the
interview.
problem.
You
Let's
had
see the comments. What people
yeah,
they
well,
can figure it out.
so I don't remember the problem, but
I remember the problem.
I remember the answer now. You told me. And
the answer's not
That's
the
how my
interesting
brain works.
part.
I'm like, oh.
He's being interviewed.
I
He's,
had a secret.
Yeah, I asked the
Ashley
question. You're
has
like
a secret.
22 people.
he's being interviewed
That's
by.
not even it!
Oh.
See, he's already forgot. He's already
I forgot
forgot.
about this.
Yeah,
It's my lucky number. That's why I remembered it.
What's the number?
22.
13?
Can I say it?
Your favorite
See?
number?
No, I mean it's the answer. Can I say it?
Oh, the answer's irrelevant.
Yeah.
But let me set this up first. So there's
Oh, that was close.
a company called
I
you.
got 2 people on.
A company called you for a job interview, right?
Yep, yep.
And you walk in here, you're like, dude, they're gonna ask me to do a fucking math problem. God damn it. And
Well, no, but we had the interview. I was talking to him for 45 minutes before the math problem started.
I
He
understand.
was going
We're
good.
not
You
there
heard
yet.
that part.
We're not there yet. So he's doing okay with talking to the guy. Every third word was a finance buzzword: synergy, optimization.
Do
blah,
you
blah,
know
blah.
what
So
professional jobs are like? It's all buzzwords.
It's exactly. So they're just bouncing buzzwords off each other. I'm like, this is all bullshit. Then we get to the
Oh,
math.
it's all bullshit. It's like listen to a doctor. I'm like,
All
every
this
other word
jargon.
blood pressure.
Yeah. So then-
heart condition.
so then-
Listening to a doctor. What's wrong
Yeah, I'm
with
like, what
that?
the hell are they talking about?
Then we get to the math part of this, and I'm expecting some kind of fancy algorithm thing, something I'm not even going to be able to handle. And it's a fucking 6th grade math algebra question.
I don't do
Right?
math
And
well.
he's like, all right, so if there's 60 minutes in an hour,
No, that's not what
and
the
you're
question
trying to
was. That's not what the question was.
Okay, what was the question?
Okay, so the question is, and for all you YouTubers, feel free to comment on the answer. The question is, okay, so you've implemented a new program that saves 80% of the time for the call center for
Okay.
customer support.
Okay.
We do 2 million minutes a month on this call center.
I thought it was like two.
It was 200,000.
Well, it doesn't matter. The number doesn't matter.
Well, you did fuck up that part.
Yeah,
It's like-
I think it does. 'cause
Okay,
that-
no,
that's
no,
like-
no, but if I'm gonna fuck it up now because now I want them to come up with their own answer because it's just gonna be a
Sure,
different
sure,
variable.
sure, sure,
Okay, all right. YouTube commenters. First of all, second of all, so 2 million minutes spent per month at the call center. You develop a program. You save 80% of time. How many employees can we lay off?
Boom.
That's the question.
Right. Now, you struggled with the first part of that, which
No,
was...
I didn't.
I was there.
I didn't.
Dude, you were like... So the best part of the call to me was this.
Yeah, this was funny.
Now, everything you've heard so far sounds like a very basic math equation, right?
No, it's not basic. No, because you have to.
When I say basic, I mean addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division.
But you
right?
also have to know, okay, 40 hours per employee.
Yeah, you have to know numbers, but you
All
don't need a graphing calculator for this, right?
No.
Now,
That's
the
funny.
best part of
You
it
might.
is the best part of this
That's funny.
part of the call was he's answering the question. And he's like, "Oh man, I'm really struggling here. You know, I only have my phone calculator. It doesn't have all the functions." I'm like, dude, what?
That's a bit.
I'm like, I just got like 8 new jokes out.
When I get nervous, I'd like to crack a joke.
Yeah, no, you definitely entertained him, but like I was sitting
Yeah.
there like, dude, this is literally a 6th grade math class. And then
I don't think it's that.
the second best part of the call was as you struggled way longer than this should have gone. He just goes, "Yeah, man, it's been a while since 3rd grade math, huh?"
No, that was funny. Yeah, no, I was
The
like,
guy on the other end said that.
yeah.
Interviewer.
Oh man, he should be a comedian.
Yeah.
You should have him
He
here.
was a funny dude.
And he tried to help him out so bad. He's like, "All right, so
Dude,
now
he was
let's."
like, just say the number. Because I got all the variables right. And I
like,
was
so-
like,
so
I'm
you
gonna
have
remember
this
here. He's like-
piece.
He's like, you said.
Can I have the next question?
He literally was like, you said every single number correctly. Just finish it. I was like, I'm not sure.
Well,
He's
what
like,
do I do?
I need to hear the number.
It was so bad. Anyway, yeah. So
I'll get the job. I won't take it.
and the best. I keep saying the best part because they're all the best parts of me, but the best part
You
was.
know what it's like doing an interview here and like seeing him sitting over there? I'm like, okay, now I'm like interviewing like in front of God. I was like, this is the most.
That was so bad. Because he keeps saying like, "Oh man, that company they interviewed me, but I haven't heard back." And now I know why. It's just like, have they all been asking you math questions at the end?
No, this is the first math question I've had to do.
Okay.
It's like college.
But he's convinced he's getting the job. So we'll
I think
see.
I'll get the job.
All right. All right.
I love job interviews because they're always like, "What is your favorite song?" If it's like
For a daycare?
no, for like a server job. When I was an orientation leader in college because I'm a great role model, and they used to ask like, if you were a kitchen appliance, what kitchen appliance
Oh,
would
those
you
classic
be?
questions.
And I was always like, I'm a blender because I bring everything together. And they're like,
Microwave.
and then then there'd be somebody who's like, I don't know, maybe like a fork. And because it's a group interview, and you look at that person and be like, you're so fucking stupid. Like, oh my god, just say like literally anything. Like,
Can I tell my group interview story in college?
Sure.
The one where I caught with weed?
I haven't
in a
heard
group
this one.
interview.
You've heard it, yeah. So I was interviewed to be an RA. I was
Oh, yeah.
sophomore
What?
junior, yeah. And I was in college, and I had this band that I always
A resident assistant.
A resident assistant.
Like a live-in dorm
Yeah,
supervisor.
yeah.
And I
For,
had
for
this-
those that don't know.
I had this thing on.
We have international fans. They may not be aware, so.
Can they
Just
go
trying to-
on, or-
I'm trying to set this up so that they can.
Oh, this is what it feels like to get interrupted. Just like in case.
Yeah, how's it feel, man? But anyway, I'm trying to help people follow your story. So, yeah, go ahead.
Alright, so I always used to wear this band on my left arm that said "Stay No to Drugs," and I was a big pot smoker. So it was like kind of a cliche joke thing because I was an edgy,
Yes.
you know,
Comical.
20-year-old. I'm in this group interview to be an RA, and it's like this group thing, right? Like everybody's sitting around the table, they're working out problems or whatever.
Wearing
And-
your hippie t-shirt.
No, I was like dressed. I was dressed like this normally. But, it's a great shirt. But I had this band on, and then I'm crushing it. It's like a group thing. Like, oh, here's the problem. Work it out. Blah blah blah. And this girl next to me is like, oh, you're drug free, and I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, me too. And I was like, high five, and I was like, yeah, still crushing it. I had weed in my pocket, and it fell out in the middle of the interview. And they saw the weed on the ground, they grabbed it, and they brought me and the girl out who high-fived me for the Stay No to Drugs. And they brought it out, and it was like, it was me and the girl, and he was like, whose is this? And she started breaking down, and I was like, it's mine.
Why did she?
Oh, that's
Because
nice.
she was freaking the. She
Why was she
drug-free.
freaked out?
Because she was like, oh, I might get bugged. I mean, I had the Stay No to Drugs band on. I could be like,
Okay.
it's hers. Like,
I mean, I would have been
I
like,
gotta
fuck
admit,
no.
No, I was like, no. I was like, yeah, it's mine. It's fine.
Okay,
Well, she
yeah.
started to cry. I felt bad. So I was like,
kinda
yeah,
weird.
mine. They
Seems
still
kind
offer,
of guilty.
they still offer me the job.
Did you?
They were like, you
take
handled
it?
that really well. No.
Uh-huh.
I was like, this would be just too
That was really a role model move. Like,
No, well, I have younger
Or
sisters.
maybe they just didn't believe the girl.
I
'Cause how the hell
can't
do you
stand
cry?
when a girl cries.
I can't either, but it seems kind of guilty.
Do you feel like that's a power you have over men?
no.
If you cry?
Oh my God, no. Absolutely not.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a secret power.
No, I
Something-
feel like when you cry, they're like, she's weak.
No, because as soon as a woman starts crying, the first thing the guys have, they're like, just get her to stop. Whatever it takes. Here's
Oh my
more
God.
money.
One
You have
time-
experience
one-
with that?
One time I had sex with a guy and I started kind of crying.
You
and
started crying?
He was like, "Oh my God!" Like
Wait, he was
wasn't-
crying or
no,
you were-
I
oh, you
did.
were crying, okay.
That was another time that happened.
Well, yeah, that sounds interesting.
But no, yeah, he
I'm gonna hear this one
He
too.
said, like, we're having sex, and I like when I was new to sex. When I was having my sex,
A rookie.
internship.
You're a rookie
When I,
season.
when I was a child,
My first year.
but like, I would like talk. My friends would make fun of me because I'd like talk because I'd be drunk, and I'd be like, "Oh my God!" Like, yeah, the weather. Because I would try to be funny, and they'd be like, "What?"
Like during sex? you
Like,
mean?
yeah, because I was.
Foreplay or during sex?
Like no, during like sex, because I thought it was in my head. I was like, this would be really funny if I talk right now. And then this guy I
Natural
really
born
liked. He said, yeah. Some of the comedy I do is literally just for me.
Comedy overcoming, am I right?
Yeah, no, for real. That's what it's like to be a woman.
The guy's like, that great act.
The guy, no, he was like,
We'll
he was
call
like,
you.
he was like, will you just shut up? And I was like, what? And then he's like, will you just shut up? And I was like, oh my God, no, I like saying what I meant, like, you have a chance to like say something better than that.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay. And then like after we had sex, I'm like, I'm sorry I cried. And he's like, you cried? Oh my God. And I was like, ah. And then I like still like was obsessed with him for like 2 more months. So
Typically how it
still,
works, right?
Still chased after him. My friends were like, he's a really bad dude. And I'm like, I know, but like he's
It's
so
Connecticut.
tall.
It was her rookie
It
season.
was in college, and I was like, oh my God, his head hits the doorway. Get out.
So who's the guy you made cry?
Well, I didn't make
didn't
him
talk enough
cry.
of
Like, I didn't
things,
like hurt him or anything, but like, I think he was like going through something, and we were hooking up, and then like he was drunk, and it was like short. I didn't think it was that short. I was like, cool, okay, like I don't have to fake anything.
can get
that
back
was
to comedy.
longer. Yeah, I was like, okay, and then he was like, I'm sorry that was so short. I was like, no, like it's
the
fine.
sex.
The guy, yeah, the sex was short, and he's like, I was like,
No, the
no, like it's
penis.
fine. Not, yeah. I mean that was too, but.
But I didn't know if she meant like the. I thought you were talking about the relationship was short.
Oh no.
Oh,
I
no.
mean, it was, but no.
It's a hookup.
This is the when
This
we were
is
having
this session,
sex.
yeah.
Oh,
The
okay.
sex. It was a short period of time, and then like he finished, and he was just like, I'm so sorry. I was like, oh my God, like it's fine. It's fine. He's like, oh no, this is so embarrassing. Like it was so like I don't even have like an excuse. Like I'm done. Like no, I'm like
Dude,
it's,
think of something.
I'm like it's fine. Like I really don't care.
Who's on first?
I'm not gonna tell any of my friends until you say something more stupid. And he's like, it's just
Oh, God. I don't
and
think it's
I was
anymore.
like, and it was in my bed, so I had to be like, okay, well,
Nice.
can you like
Lead.
go? Can you cry somewhere? I mean, I didn't say that. I was like, like what do I? It's okay. Like I'm not gonna.
I feel like that's like a vulnerable
Like no,
move.
I prefer it. Like no, I'm not gonna say that.
Right? Yeah. No, you're not. Cause you're not gonna flaunt his ego for no reason.
Yeah.
I had sex before. No, I had,
No.
yeah, it's great. No, I had sex with my wife a couple months ago, and I was like
My
I was
wife.
so horny. I literally did like 2 strokes and I came.
Nice.
I've never come that fast. She was like, "What the?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know where that was."
What? Reboot.
It was literally like I was like, "Vop, vop."
I gotta play Red Dead Redemption. I'll be right
Yeah, I was
back.
like, "Okay, you good? All right, good." I didn't start crying. Yeah, I was just kind of like, I threw 20 on her back.
What is this, Eastbound and Down? Jesus.
Bye, wife.
Thanks a lot. Oh,
What are we having for dinner
That
now?
scene, it's found it down.
I could go all night. Oh!
I thought you wanted me to come.
So I'm gonna go back and challenge that
See this
sentiment.
for like 6 months. I don't know. This guy has.
I feel like I don't understand the women's point of view of like, oh, he came quick, so meh. It's like, shouldn't you see that as like a flattering thing? Like, oh damn.
Okay, well that's how I felt at first, and I told my friends, I was like, oh my god, yeah, he came so fast. My friends were like, Claire, that's bad. Like that's weird.
Yeah, see,
and
I
I
feel
was
like-
like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It means I'm like really hot. And they're like,
Exactly.
no,
Exactly.
because
Right part.
I
women,
think your
women
gut was
love
good.
to put each other down. We're like, no,
Right, see,
you did something
If you had
wrong.
gone with your gut, you had what I think is the appropriate reaction, which is, yo, I'm so good, I can get you to go.
Go
Don't
more.
care. But
Yeah.
Keep going.
you want to know?
I'm trying to quit. That's a really funny thing. That's a really funny thing to say. That's a good joke.
I tried this on stage last night. Everyone was like, "What the fuck is he doing?" But no.
I thought it was funny. I thought
Yeah,
that was
because you
really
guys
funny.
like know me a little bit now, but of course you guys were all fucking standing outside.
I didn't know you at all when you did that, and I was like, that's funny.
Well, you have met me a little bit, but like everyone else in the crowd that hasn't met me before, and then they see me do it, like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Dude, you were still self-conscious last time. I thought it was a good act.
Self-conscious.
I thought what you guys did was really cool.
He does.
I enjoyed
Oh,
it.
the dual act. That's so. dumb.
Yeah, no, I thought it was cool. I think that sometimes like I don't, it was refreshing.
Dude, we tried something new.
Yeah, but he
No.
he was so much better at it off stage / camera than on
No,
camera.
you tried something new.
That's what I'm talking about. It's so the whole idea is he's really quick on his feet, so he can like you say something, he's already got a response.
that
prepared.
guy?
No, him.
Oh, I was
Zach.
talking. Oh, okay.
Yeah, not him. Zach. So I thought, oh, this would be great because like you can just feed him a line and he'll come up with something funny, almost as if he was rehearsing it for like weeks,
Mm-hmm.
right? I actually have several friends that are like that level of funny. It's like insane. It's almost like they read my mind a half hour ago and they've been like formulating this perfect response. But anyway, so I imagine when we went up there, because he even asked the guy, because he knows, we're like, oh, can you set up 2 microphones for us? I was like, oh shit, we're taking this serious. And my idea was, because I had wanted to do this for a long time, I was like, oh, this is great. Let's practice somebody. So I just pulled up Reddit news page and I was just reading the headlines and then he would come up with like, bop, 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 all these funny things. And then we get up on stage, pass,
I said
next.
pass like
Well,
one
no,
my
I
dude.
thought that was funny when you did. And
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
part of the,
I was like,
it was part of the
haha.
act. Yeah, it's like
But,
next.
Could have been better. It's not a fucking
There were
board
some
game.
though that I wanted to like bring up after, but then I forgot. The Conor McGregor thing.
Oh, the Irish bar?
He and I was like, that's funny because like, duh, like
That's what I
of
said. I
course,
was like, some came up.
yeah,
that was
like
the bit.
okay, what else? Like,
I thought.
I was like,
really
wait, he
liked it.
hasn't done that already? Was it assault or like punch somebody or did he like?
I don't fucking know.
I think it was a rape allegation.
Of course.
Yeah, here we go.
Well, no, I mean, like you look at the guy and you think like he's won so many like whatever fights and he's probably raped so many girls.
Actually, Neil Brennan, I know you don't know who he is. Do you know who
Oh,
he is? The
yeah,
comedian?
love him.
He has a great bit where he's like, football players assaulting women. It's like, you expect them to be these big, nasty, gruesome brutes on the field, and then you expect them to just turn it off the field. It's like, you know.
There's a. Do you like Amy Schumer at all?
Yeah, I respect her.
She,
I like the movies.
She had she had the show Inside Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, great show. I like
yeah.
That
And
title is still beautiful.
well, no, because what was really funny was right when she announced she was pregnant, Comedy Central put a picture of a ultrasound, and it said "Inside Amy Schumer," and I was like, that is so funny, and like that got like 30 retweets, which is crazy because it's like Comedy Central. I was like, that's a good joke.
Wait, that was Comedy Central tweeting?
Yeah, Comedy Central tweeted that. Like,
I'm not a big Twitter guy.
That's a good tweet.
I'm not a big
But
Twitter guy.
she has this really good one skit about football players, and it's called like Football Town Nights, and like she's the wife of some coach guy.
Oh, I remember
and,
this.
Yeah, that's really funny. And he's like, okay, guys, we're gonna do things differently around here. You guys are not allowed to rape. And they're like, what? But what if she's dressed like a cat and it's Halloween? And he's like, no. And he's like, but what if she said yes to something else I asked her earlier that day? And he's like, no. And then they're like, the neighbors are walking by like, oh, that's them, their coach that won't let the kids rape. Screw you. Like, it's so,
Yeah, I remember this
it's,
story.
I
She had a lot of good skits on there, actually. I like the birth control one. That was a good one.
I liked like all of them. Sometimes before I even started doing comedy, my friend was like, I think that maybe you would like stand up and you should check out Amy Schumer. And I used to hate stand up because I have ADD. Like watching a person stand on stage with like nothing else going on, like no thank you.
That's why I respect the shit out of it. It's like,
Yeah, now that I do it, I like it, but I had to train myself. But I started by watching Inside Amy Schumer, which is like, she does some stand-up, and then she like interviews people by asking them like.
Actually, that is a perfect combination for
bars.
ADD folks.
Yeah, it was just like.
Kind of like Chappelle Show.
So, the Adam Sandler, he has a really his recent.
His latest
stand-up
one? Yeah, that was
set.
a good one. That was a good one.
It's perfect
'Cause it's
for
like
people with
boom, 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 boom,
ADD
yeah.
because it's like.
Split up.
Oh, a new stage. I was like, I'm paying attention.
I
Tell
don't
you
remember I hate watching stand up.
I can't do the hour fucking special. It's like, let's
Yeah.
get over this. Like,
Oh,
who's
well, I
sitting
listen
down
to
for
it.
an
Yeah.
hour?
Talent, but yeah,
I'll like
I
turn
can't
it if
watch
I have to do something, like, or if I'm driving, which when I was doing stand up in Connecticut,
I don't
everywhere
do
was an
anything,
hour
so.
from me. So I would always be driving to wherever I was going to perform, and I would just turn on the Netflix, like turn my phone
like
upside
a podcast
down.
kind of thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
basically, like, I would just, and that's how I would get in it, because I can't, like, sit at home.
Yeah.
I have friends that, like, I don't know why. Like, I have friends who love stand-up, and they love to just watch stand-up, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they're gonna do anything.
No, I agree, because like when I tell people, we talked about Miss the Marvelous with
Mm-hmm.
Maisel before, but yeah, people are like, oh, do you watch this stand-up comedy? I'm like, I don't watch stand-up comedy.
I don't
I
watch
don't like
it.
it. I'm like, I have to deal with that shit all the time when I go to open mics, and I have to watch it all the time. Like,
I think it's.
I like the craft. I respect it. But like, I don't
Well-
like in my casual time, my free time,
Mm-hmm.
Not enough to
which I have,
give a shit about.
which I have a lot of.
I prefer watching it live. It's like that's how I feel about baseball. Like turn
Yeah.
on TV, I do not give a fuck. But like I'll go to a baseball game and like get drunk and eat some
Yeah,
popcorn.
I don't think-
like I'll go.
You know,
Well,
watch baseball?
obviously I like baseball. I'm wearing a Yankees
You're from
hat.
Connecticut. You're like, not the Sox.
No, oh my
I
god.
only watch the
Shining
Connecticut
Cross.
Raiders.
Yeah, I only watch the Bridgeport Bluefish.
Yeah. Anything north of Manhattan is the Bronx.
My next door neighbors are like
Upstate.
hardcore Red Sox fans and Patriots fans, and it's funny because I'm like, I'll wear like a Yankees hat, and they're like, "Oh, I'm wearing a Yankees hat." I'm like, this is like an outfit. It's not like I care.
Honestly, this is like legit just a part of the New York uniform. This fucking hat. So stand-up specials, right? I don't think any stand-up specialist should be longer than 15 minutes. But I think if you
I
go
kinda agree
to
with
a
you.
comedy show, then like, hey, you took your evening out, you got a babysitter, you dedicate time to this, fine. Entertain us for an hour, hour and a half.
Not
But,
one
like,
person though.
a variety act, whatever.
I think
when you go out to a
15
live
minutes is
show,
out
but
long.
15 minutes for a YouTube clip / Instagram video / whatever, like, do not give me more than a 15-minute
Yeah.
special. That's my opinion on it.
Well, it's interesting because like people who don't do comedy have a different opinion. They want to see somebody perform for an hour.
Yeah,
Like,
in person.
yeah, they want to see that. People who don't do comedy, like they want to see, they want to watch, because they don't write jokes. Like when we watch comedy, we're thinking, oh, I have an idea. Pause.
Well,
I'm
even
gonna write
before I
down.
started doing comedy, I was starting to think like, I've only been doing comedy since November, but even 2-3 years ago, I was just like, fuck, man, these are so fucking long. Like even the Chappelle specials, one of the greatest comedians of all time, I was struggling to finish the shit. I was like, ugh.
It is so fucking.
And I'm not saying don't put out an hour of material. I'm just saying make it 15-minute specials and put
Yeah.
out 3 of them or 4 of them. Like, you know?
Or
And
like a
then-
TV show.
Make it feel like a
TV show,
club.
something. Yeah. And then when you
That's
go
what
to
should
an
make it
actual,
feel like a club. You have an opener. Like they could do an hour special, but like have like a couple of.
they actually started
like
to do
a
that.
thing.
They
Oh, did
started to do this. So now they have like these little 20-minute, 30 minutes, and there's like
There's
comedians around the world.
the stand-ups on Netflix. They have like 30-minute segments, and that's awesome. I used to watch that when I would like run on the treadmill. Now I don't have a treadmill because I'm not living with my parents, so I can't do that. But
Are your parents live in Brooklyn?
no, in Connecticut.
Oh, in Connecticut.
Yeah.
If she
I
says
was on- I
Connecticut
was
one
on
more
the
time, I'm
treadmill.
going to jump in.
You know, it's funny.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I'm from Connecticut. Every guy I ever dated wears Sperry's, and
That's why you hate those shoes. Got it. Okay.
no, I mean, I like it's like it's
Sperry's
like
brings me back.
oh, it reminds me.
Two pump dumb
So
guy.
it's a weird place, Connecticut, because people like expect you to be something, and I
I hate
am that
Connecticut.
something, but like everybody else
I need
is
a
not.
band-aid.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
I'll
god.
mumble up the nurse. It's a medicine thing.
What did you cut?
I just bit my cubicle.
what are
Do you have a band-aid?
I might.
I thought you said cubicle.
For your doctor, you might have a band-aid. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
What?
You gave him a band-aid, he's like, it's not good on
What is this?
It's like.
Have you not noticed a theme so far?
It's like a 3-year-old dick.
How do you know what that looks like?
So yours.
Okay, both of you just heaned me.
But dude, I've loved how
Oh, God
being
damn it.
surrounded by stand-up more has made me funnier. Like I never used to consider myself.
You
funny.
are much funnier than you used to
I've
be.
started to get much funnier.
It's so cool how that I went home back to
I took 87.
I drove in my Prius. I do have a Prius.
It was hard to park because
In
my
case,
parents had like
like-
6 cars.
In case like there was a little inch of anybody out there who liked me, like gone.
Oh no, don't
I drive
wait till
a
wait for the
Prius.
comments. They're gonna love you. They're gonna hate me.
Well, she is the
no.
first female like anything on my channel. So
I know.
it's like,
The
oh my
next,
God.
the
I don't
next
see
female
Shannon.
is gonna be so much better than me.
No, we'll do a black chick. You'll get completely destroyed.
It's immediately funnier than me.
Yeah, they're like, you know what? She wasn't that inclusive.
Now everything I say after that statement is just gonna sound racist.
Well, he likes to take it there. So.
Fuck them white.
Maybe.
I was in my Prius.
Wait, did you bring your car here?
No,
Okay,
I
good-
did,
good
but
call,
then
good call.
I had it on set for this production I was working on. They had me drive everywhere, and so I got really good at driving in the city. But I'm such a bad driver.
Fuck,
Okay, you're from
So-
Connecticut.
I'm
They're the worst
I'm a
driver
really
you
no.
ever
It's
said.
like it's not just like that I'm from Connecticut, and it's not just like that I'm a woman. It's just like I'm so bad that it's embarrassing, and I feel so bad because I want to be a feminist. Like I want to be there, but then people see me drive and they're like, women shouldn't do that. But I had surgery in my mouth a while ago, and I was coming home from Philly. And I did a show, and people told me afterwards, they're like, you've gotten better. And that's what happens when you do it so much.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I didn't realize
But I
that
keep
really
telling you to
happens.
practice, but
I
And,
did 2 last night.
Well, practicing is weird because, like, then there's doing
Coke
mics,
on
but
here.
there's also, like,
Lips again.
we'll fix your
that's
phone. We'll fix your
that's
phone.
what all comedians look like. But practicing is weird though because it's like doing it at open mics, but then also like doing it in your kitchen when no one's home, or like doing it in your bathroom when other people are home, and like riding on the subway and like
Yeah, it's a mindset.
writing on your. I was in a Broadway play on. I was not in it. I was at one. I was at one.
Singing the national anthem.
I just
Yeah,
went back to Hamilton.
Yeah. Yes, I'm actually.
You signed my boobs.
Miranda. Yeah, I wish. But and I like in the middle of the show, I had this idea, and I didn't want to pull out my phone because I didn't want to be like total dick. So I pulled out a pen, and I was like scribbling on my hand, like in the middle of the play, and this old lady looks at me. She's like, I was like, you know what? Fuck you.
Who the fuck cares if you're scribbling something on a notebook?
Well,
I
people
know it
judge
was
you
on
for
my
everything.
hand,
It's not light.
but like it was like she was like.
Well, as I'm sure you know, people will hate you for absolutely anything.
Yeah.
So.
I deserve
People
a
hate him
lot
for
of it.
reasons.
Yeah, I deserve a lot of it. I'm gonna fuck them.
No, I'm saying the thing, like, you hate me for, like, having a nice place. You're just like,
Do you really think I fucking hate you? I don't care about you. I don't think about you at all.
I'm just
Okay,
curious,
man.
is anyone in this building like single and willing to date me? This is really cool.
I'm like,
we'll check with
now
the
there
folks.
No, you don't live here. That's not.
Hey,
I
I'm
mean,
here
like,
enough. If it's still annoying.
And,
God,
okay,
I
yeah.
hate walking from. Where did I get up to 7? Walking up here, it's so annoying.
He's annoyed by everything.
No,
You're
if
getting
I'm,
used
if
to
I'm
it.
being honest, ever since I
just
moved
thought
to
so.
New York last week, I realized that I'm a total dick because now when I walk in Times Square, I'm like, "Ugh, these people like you just like keep walking, like you guys suck, like just.
That's a normal thing.
I
to
don't
me.
mind Times Square. I
Yeah,
love
because you're
it.
here 2 weeks out of the month. I've been
And?
here for 9 years. I hate this.
I still interact with Times Square way more than you probably ever have.
Yeah.
And I
That's
just don't,
by design.
I don't care.
Spider-Man came up to me and was like, "Do you want the picture?" And I was like, "Can't you tell?
He's
I'm
called
a New
Peter
Yorker."
Parker. Yeah. Do you not see the hat?
Obviously, like
Go
I
Yankees!
live here.
You watch The Office at all?
I have,
Are
yes.
you an Office fan? Dude, I was watching an episode the other day, and you know how you were just like, what did you just say? Or actually, I just thought, like, oh,
The Sbarro thing?
you'll get used to them, and the Sbarro thing. But no, I was just watching the episode where Creed just walks up and sits down like, that's Angela. She's the Office bitch. You'll get used to her.
That's so like unlike Creed.
Yeah, but that's why it's so funny. She's
She's the Office bitch.
Well, the fact that Creed knew someone's name and then like
Oh,
knew
holy
about their
fuck.
personality.
Actually, I think he did screw up her name. He's like, that's Michelle. She's the Office bitch. Something like that.
No, I'm sick of people dressing up as like Pam and Jim for I almost said for Christmas, for Halloween. Like I want to be Angela and Dwight. Like
You kind of look like
if I
Pam.
had-
You got a Pam look to you.
You could pass for Angela too. You'd have to be more
No,
blonde.
what are you
but-
talking about? She would not look like Angela.
Please,
blonde
guys, I'm a Karen. Okay, like
Oh, Karen.
What the hell is Karen?
I feel it barely.
she's the one.
Remember?
She's the one that's
Oh my
not
God.
Pam.
The
but
one that
Pam.
was in Connecticut, Stanford.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, you don't look a thing like her.
I got so many comments. So you know how we just did that top 6 ugly 6 sneakers
Yeah.
segment. So I had him do it, and on the ugly 6, at the end I go, "Is there anything else you want to shit on in here?" And he goes, "Yeah, Democrats." He's just trolling, right? But then I had people like legit mad, just like, "Hey, how could you let him say these things?" I'm
We did the
Oh.
MAGA hat video too, and people got freaked the fuck
well,
out.
back then I was a nobody, so I don't think.
No, but I mean, but that same guy brought it up again. He was like, "Oh, that Cincinnati Reds hat must be cheaper than the MAGA hat that
Yeah.
you were wearing before." People
My
remember
my
that.
friend is a singer in Brooklyn. She has a bunch of followers, and my friends and I like to shit on her sometimes. Like she'll post a video of her singing, and it'll be like, "This fucking sucks. Like, quit." And then other people will comment like, "Hey, she's working really hard." I'm like, I've known her since birth. Like, you don't.
Yeah.
I'm joking, obviously not. No, I am.
But that's the thing.
joking.
If you don't put things in context, he never realizes this. Like, these people are a third party. They're not in the room with us, so they will never understand the full context of everything.
And
So-
how cool your apartment is.
but when he, is you tight?
Oh yeah, I said not to say that.
He hates compliments.
The only thing I hate
Hates
about your
compliments.
apartment is like, why do you have 8 of the same lamp?
I want like a street level vibe at the top level. I was
Is
too
this
lazy.
the top level?
Yeah, it's the penthouse level. I didn't want I didn't want to put in fixtures and,
That is
lights and
crazy.
whatever. But
And also, I wish you had more decorations.
yeah, I'm a guy.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I was thinking of getting like a Jim Carrey artwork piece. To put,
Oh,
like,
that's
there.
sick.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Or paint it. Just paint the wall.
Yeah.
I don't know why naturally everything seems like, oh.
Yeah, everything.
Dude, get
I think this is the coolest apartment in the world. That I'm just...
He hates when I get complimented.
No,
He
we
hates
need to do a guest podcast at my apartment. Before I leave. I'm about to leave.
Sure.
Come do one.
Yeah.
On the terrace.
We should do it
I have
at
a-
my apartment.
I have a 30-foot terrace overlooking the city.
I have a 6-foot bathroom.
Yeah, you're like 19.
6 by
That's where you're
1.
supposed to be. I have a garden. You can't grow anything in here.
Well, I have real plants in there.
Uh,
All over.
look at those things. They're like
No.
cactuses.
There
Survive
are some
everywhere.
cactuses.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You
I
don't
have,
think?
I have a cactus. It's this big. It's from Barcelona.
Nice. Are you
It's
a
a
big
little
travel fan?
What?
Fan?
You like traveling? What is
Are
this,
you in
Tinder?
support of
Do you travel?
Yeah.
Do you love life?
I feel like every guy I see on an online dating app has a picture of him like traveling, and it says, "What's the most fun?" Oh, like, well, you guys are both. I'm 22. I'm not.
That's
in a
so
serious
you're
relationship.
single.
Yes.
Yeah.
Edit that out. But wait, so you're single. So are you on like all the dating apps? Which
A
is your
couple.
favorite?
I feel like a little pretentious because I deleted my Tinder.
Yeah, you're okay, Cupid.
I'm like, no, I don't have OkCupid. I think that one costs money. My cousin hooked me up with Hinge.
Well, you had a bit about OkCupid.
I do have yeah, my
You
roommate.
did that last night. We were
Well,
like,
actually,
okay, Cupid.
I wrote that on
That was funny.
Thursday because my roommate was like, "Oh, I hooked up my aunt with her husband on. I told her to try OkCupid." I was like, "Okay, well, I'm not looking for a husband right now. Like, OkCupid is so last resort. Like, that's like, okay, Cupid.
Yeah,
like,
okay, Cupid.
Fine,
Find
I
someone
give
for me,
up.
yeah. I
Like,
thought that was
let's
really
see
funny.
what this baby with a bow and arrow can do."
It's a good bit.
I love
It's
that
really
bit.
funny. Yeah.
I mean, it makes me happy because it's not like because I think that just because I'm a newer comedian, a lot of my jokes are like, dick in my mouth, and I'm really happy that that one
I
doesn't.
think that's just
have dick
how
in my
new
mouth.
comedians are. Like you
Yeah.
talk about what you know, and you know about dicks.
No, but I
balls,
like the
and pussy,
OkCupid
like-
joke because it's a take on a woman's perspective of dating,
Yeah.
but not being like there's
To
a lot of
like talking about sex.
sexual or yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
keep this part. I love this. Right?
No,
So
no,
I-
I think it's a funny. I think it's a really funny bit.
I agree. You were talking about Hinge. What's Hinge like?
Oh, so Hinge is
Why
like
is that your favorite?
It's well, I like it because it's what you do when you start out is it makes you answer questions,
Okay.
and they're like some of them are funny.
Are
some
you
of
from
them are-
Connecticut?
No,
No.
no. Well, it does ask your hometown.
Where
I'll show you.
Are we
I'll
talking
show
New
you
Haven or like
my
Rockport?
my profile right now because
So
I've had
Hinge
enough
this is a
around.
dating app.
Yes, this is a dating app. So this is this is my profile.
Oh,
So
God.
I put stand-up comedy first.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I look like I have a because otherwise I just look
No, because
like
the guy knows
you
when
know what I look like. Otherwise I
Well-
look like I'm just one of those girls who's like,
Actually, that's a
show
great-
me your
that-
dog.
That's a great photo of you.
Thank
But
you.
the stand up is actually probably a great way to go because guys will know you're going to be like a little sarcastic.
Well,
Little
actually,
mouthy.
let me tell you something right now that so this is bad. Do you say mouthy?
Yeah.
This motherfucker. But
I just had out.
someone
That's
said,
hilarious. A little mouth. Yeah. A
oh,
little feminist.
okay.
You want to be able to vote. No, I'm kidding.
You think you can drive? That's why they only let you drive a Prius.
They're like, give her something that doesn't go forward.
Shh, you'll startle her.
I'm not jump out this open window right now.
I said that without even thinking about it.
It's like a low melt. Wow, oh my god. Okay.
You can leave.
Well, this is, now I know.
We can wrap this up.
I know that you're just gonna agree with me. Oh, nice. So when I was using your bathroom, actually, I saw someone message me on Hinge, and well, I messaged them first because Hinge said we should meet. So I said, Hinge says we should meet. So hello. And then the guy responded saying, not gonna lie, expected a better opener than that based on your profile, but hello.
The classic neg.
But now I'm realizing that I said, Hinge says we should meet, but I spelled it MEAT.
What?
So that's why. That's probably why.
Okay, yeah,
that's what you wrote.
Yeah, I meant to say MEET,
Got
but
it. He probably just thinks you're stupid.
he wouldn't be wrong.
I know a few guys a little bit older than you, but like they all use the dating apps and everything. And it seems like it's very like the culture is like being funny.
Yeah.
In the first like couple.
Well, how else are you gonna say
Something
something
clever.
I have a lot of opinions about dating apps because so are you guys familiar? You probably aren't, but there's dating app thing. There's a girl on Twitter it's Twitter, and she posts funny things that men say to women or come back. It's called She Raised Dogs.
Okay.
And that is funny because like it's basically just making fun of men who say stupid shit. And I submitted one the other day. It was really funny. Like this guy said like, I can lick my elbow and I can F*** your B ******. And it was like, okay, well that doesn't even make sense.
Breast?
Yeah. No, well somebody is like,
I
I can flag your bingo. Like, anyway, so like, yeah, that's funny, but like, I think a lot of women on Tinder and stuff like this, like, just are out there to troll men a little bit because men will be like,
they're just bored.
They'll be like, hey, you look pretty, and then the girl will be like, oh, like, so you didn't notice my personality? And then they'll screenshot that and put it on Twitter and be like, all men are trash. And I'm like, okay, as a fellow woman, I have to say, like, that wasn't creative. And like, okay, yeah, most of the time the guys say stupid shit on Tinder all the time, which is so weird. This happened to me and my friends. It's always like, you look like you have a big butt. And it's like, why would you think, what does that mean?
I could not imagine dating this day and age.
Yeah,
Well,
but no.
funny enough, he made a Tinder profile as a joke, and it was just no profile, just one picture of Steve Harvey and his mustache. Like that was
Yeah.
How many matches? You probably got a lot of matches. Like, ha ha ha, you're so funny.
Yeah, you have no idea. This is like 4 years ago too.
This is like but you never told us why is Hinge your favorite.
Oh, so it forces you to answer questions. So when someone else answers the questions, like the other person has to say. So like, let's just go on right now. So like, let's see. Okay, so Steve like had just so it says, I know. Hi Steve. I'm gonna match. Oh, we already matched.
Wait.
Okay, let's do something.
I'm dating him.
So Gabriel.
Okay.
Oh,
what a
sexy
stupid name.
No, you know, but like
Gabriel's a stupid
But like
name.
I'm a girl, so I'm judging this. I'm like, okay, so you obviously put this through a filter, so he's gay. But like, it says, no, you weren't. You voted for Trump. But anyway,
I will again.
it says I won't shut up about, and so it says like stuff like you picture him. And then it says his age, his height, where he lives,
His height.
if he drinks, if he smokes weed, if he does drugs.
These are all the yes or no questions.
Yeah, so it basically says like,
That you have to
drinks
answer.
sometimes.
Okay.
Pathetic.
Yeah,
Smokes,
well,
no.
nerd.
Weed, yes. Pills, sometimes. It's a pill symbol, so it's not like, it would be way like,
Do I need to bring my own needles?
like pill sounds bad. If it was something like, if it said like mom,
pills?
if there's a pill symbol.
What if you like bash the person? What? I'm taking ibuprofen.
Yeah, it's like,
No, that's a weird thing to do.
oh my god, I'm hot. Yeah, I'm like, so sorry, baby.
Sometimes.
But then it says his job, it says where he went to school, it says religion, it says where he's from, it
Oh,
says...
agnostic, he's a new thinker.
So, and it says he's liberal, so I'll
Oh,
probably
he's
marry
little.
him.
Yeah, there you go.
Um,
Right.
And then it has like pictures, and then so it's like, it's
It's
honestly...
like politics.
It's basically
Should be
like, I feel like...
It's like an Instagram feed.
It's or like a presentation for a business, you know. It's
Yeah.
like,
It's like a Squarespace
meet
website.
Gabriel. Here is, you know.
So, because you just moved to the city, are you looking for like a relationship or like a hookup? With this thing?
So I don't know. I mean, I honestly am
So,
kind of just
okay.
doing it for. I'm just kind of like doing it because it's fun. Like I want to see, and
No,
someone
no,
happens
no.
to fall in love with
But
me.
that's what you're. So okay, so you're at the. You just came to the city.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to figure out what you want to do.
What is it about this that's
Yeah.
superior to Tinder? Or
Well, okay.
Well, like,
Tinder
what's
is.
the goal of this?
Tinder was like. The goal of this, Hinge is advertises like a date. You can meet a guy you can date on kind of app. And I mean, I would like to like, you know,
It's all the same guy.
Well, no, but
Don't you
you
think
have to
it's-
have
It is,
somebody
it is.
Hinge is like.
But Hinge, like,
requires more.
the thing is
dedication
like
from
even
people.
Bumble like doesn't require you to answer questions. So your Bumble profile could be like,
Whatever.
Rob, I like motorcycles, and then like nothing
Someone
else.
had that,
Like this.
Rob experience.
So the question.
No, actually, no. I said Rob on purpose because I was like, what's the name of a guy I haven't fucked? Hey, Mom.
So these questions are just for setting up your profile. The required
Yeah,
questions.
yes,
Okay, it's
yes.
not like you're required to ask each other questions.
Should I hurt him? And the other cool thing is like, so you can like something that they said, or you can like their picture. So like, if I want, so he says, I want to shut up about music and songs that actually mean something to me. Okay.
So you'd be like, I think your
Yeah, no,
picture.
you're okay.
Yeah.
Move on.
Oh, it's, well, wait, no, this is funny. My most rational fear: bees. Da da da. I do not fuck with bees. Whoa.
Yeah, he's,
Okay.
he's trying hard.
He
That's-
says,
no, that's
he's like,
a
I
joke.
mean, many wasps and hornets. Those fuckers are mean. I can't believe this.
No, he's definitely like
Then maybe he
he's
meets a
trying
girl.
to be funny.
But then maybe he
Yeah.
meets a girl who's super into
I'm
bees.
just gonna not. Okay,
Oh,
here's
you
another
should.
guy.
You're too
Pet
public.
peeves. Plastic chopsticks. All right, this guy sounds like he's trying to get.
Yeah, no. Well,
And
that's why.
this
That's
guy
why.
just
Well,
wants to fucking-
I feel like your generation and your age with all this dating apps and everything, guys have to be like super clever and cliche like, all the time. Plastic
yeah.
chopsticks. That's not a fucking.
How can you be clever?
Well, okay, no.
It's gonna be clever
So what
when you talk
what
to a
I
woman,
run
yeah.
into a lot is like, okay, this is like, it's like what I would donate a liver for. It'll say something like that, and people will either say like, or no, that's a bad example. A good example is like, I can't stop talking about, and everyone says The Office. And it's like, oh yeah, I like The Office. I like The Office. What I'm looking for, a girl who likes The Office. I'm like,
That's
oh
the
my
new.
god,
I love
every
my friends.
fucking
I
girl
love my
likes.
family.
Yeah,
All right.
and then it could be like what I'm looking for, and so there's two types of guys. There's guys who are like, I'm looking for just someone who wants to hang out and like, you know, sometimes go out to eat, maybe, you know, go to bars with me or something. And then the other type of guy is like, my keys, I lost them last week. And so like, so yes, there are guys who are like trying to be funny, like, oh, my keys are lost on, but then there's guys who are just so oblivious to like the humor side of dating. Like we're using this thing that we text our moms with to try to like get laid.
I think people.
And I think that that's funny.
No.
And some guys are just like, oh, I really want to find a lifelong connection. I'm like, you're not
Okay,
gonna
but
fucking.
what would you? Okay, but
Well, that guy is just not for you.
Well, hold on. In your mind, because you're a young female, would you think you'll have more success like on the dating app, or just meeting somebody random?
So in my real life,
In
I've
your head, in your head.
like, do you mean like in my dreams or like?
No. Like,
what I
how do you
really
think?
think.
How do you think it will actually happen?
Well,
Like, if
like
you
how do
ever-
I
if
think
you ever-
how do I think I'll meet like my actual?
Husband or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, so when I was working at a bar, I met, a surprisingly small amount of guys. I really thought I was gonna get hit on more, cause I'm like, okay, I'm not a 5, like, come on, you're drunk, like, just tell me I'm pretty. I'm fucking, like, I'm Ashley, baby, like, are my boobies not big enough? Like, I really, so I thought I was gonna get hit on more, but I didn't. I mean, I did, but like by guys who like worked at CBS, and not because they're aspiring pharmacists, like because they.
What do you got against me now? More of a Dwayne Reed.
Yeah, I'm a Walgreens girl.
I'm more asking, like, in your mind, as a younger woman, do you think it's the dating apps where you meet a man, or be it just like a random kind of exploitation?
I think it's 50-50. I'm at a point. I've graduated from college, so I'm not, gonna
I'm not saying
be
that.
a guy.
I just think in your mind.
In my
Like, what do you think is more feasible? Do you think dating apps are the future, or do you think it's still going to be like the whole?
I legitimately think it's like I think that by the time that I'm married and I have children, I think that my children are going to be in class with half people that their parents met online and half people that their parents met at college, at a bar, or like at work or some other way through friends.
Which would you prefer?
Oh, in person for sure.
So like randomly, just meeting.
Yeah, because I feel like on a dating app, it's like there's always it's like a little like I feel like we both are here because we also like I don't feel like it's as real because it's like we both want a relationship, and that's kind of why we would hang on to each other as opposed to like meeting someone in real life and like actually connecting with them and liking them for them and not just liking them because you're lonely.
Right.
And
does it feel like a business proposition?
Yeah, and I mean, like, not that I have friends that have married people.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I think that like sometimes it works out really well for people, and like, because I used to have friends that would be like, you don't want to date a guy you meet on a dating app, and I'm like, well, I'm a person on a dating app, so I don't think that they're like I don't think that everyone on dating apps is like scummy people. Like I think that there's just normal people who are just like, let's give this a try. Like, I am single, I should just download it.
I think it's the future because it's just all about efficiency. I think it's great that you can have certain interests, and you might have met Gabriel or person X
Hey Gabriel.
You might have met this guy at some place, and maybe something about him in real life, because you don't have all access to all this information. You would have been like, oh, I'm into this, and then you spend all this time, and then you find out he's into bees and hates chopsticks, and you're like, oh god, I just wasted 8 months on this guy. Whereas with these apps, it's like you weed all that shit out right out of the way. You get into, okay, are we going to be a good fit or not? And then you
actually, I think the opposite, because I think like if you meet in real life, you might meet somebody that you totally connect with and stuff you wouldn't have originally swiped right on.
That's true.
Because like there's things that like the guy who's like pills. Sometimes I was like, what the fuck, whatever, get out of my sight. But if I met somebody in real life that I really liked, thought was really cool, whenever we're dating for like a few months, he's like, look, I gotta tell you,
I'm a person.
Sometimes I stick ibuprofen up my butt. I'd be like, okay, look, that's weird, but like I like you this much. Well, that's not gonna happen at all. But like my point is like, I think that sometimes dating apps make us think, no, like too quickly, which can be bad. Because then, and it's all picture. The reason I like Hinge is because you can see, they force you to see somebody's personality.
Yeah.
Like Tinder is like, boat shoes, guy holding a fish, fuck that, no.
Well, and I think, just to interject, sorry.
No, go
Interrupt again. But,
actually, no, you were very polite about it.
Yeah.
That's the best you've done.
That is incredible.
No, yeah. No, I think.
Amazing!
No, because I think efficiency is not part of romance or love.
It's just part of sex, like, okay.
No, efficiency in general, like when you're looking for a partner, I think people want to escape efficiency. Efficiency, like, to like controls capitalist lives, especially in the U.S., especially in New York. So like that's why I think like actual connections with people is like way more powerful than being like, okay, let's make this efficient. Let's do this. That's why
I don't mean efficient to let it go. You're for this good.
No, but like what you were saying before, like, okay, yeah, you're not gonna know my quirks. Like when we first start dating, I'm not gonna come out and be like, oh, here are my quirks. Like you know me, you get to know me, and then you know my quirks. And you
I kind of like exposing, personally, I like exposing my quirks early because I want to know, do you fuck with me?
There's different,
Yeah,
there's different types of quirks.
Well, there's many.
Yeah. Well,
You would want to know what you're getting into with me.
yeah.
See? So when I say efficiency, I don't mean like paper mill, assembly line efficiency. I'm talking about the efficiency of like, same way businesses grow much quicker now because you can attract the kind of people that belong to your business.
People want to see
because
that
you-
idea of a business. If you're working in business all day, like I have to always think about like optimization, efficiency, blah 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 blah. Sometimes you don't want that. You want like the human touch. Efficiency
I'm not
gets
saying
old.
they're mutually exclusive. That's the thing. I feel like you're associating the word efficiency with machine and
No, that's why I'm associating in general with like the dating apps and all that stuff. Because it focuses on efficiency.
It does, but maybe you're thinking more back end. I'm thinking more like,
No, it really does, because one time a guy gave me his number and then I texted him. I made him wait. I gave him he was like, what's your
2 days
number?
later.
But I mean, I really did, because he was like flirting with me and he was totally intense. So he's like, well, can I get your number? I was like, and he was drunk. So I was like, okay, I'll give you my number if you can answer. Here, I said, here it is, and I gave him a really extreme math problem that led to my phone number.
You're like, so you have to go to the house.
Think about it.
To go to the thousand, 60 minutes or an hour.
How many employees can you fire?
And he was like, oh,
I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart.
And I was really impressed at the fact that he actually texted me like 20 minutes later. I was like, and I knew he was like drinking. I was like, this boy was hanging out with his friends, and he was like, hold up, guys, I gotta do this math problem. Like I was like, okay, cool, like, all
He's
right.
getting drinks.
Cool.
Hey, math buddies, you guys get a drink?
Never texted
Yeah, I was
me
like, Dom,
back.
come here. I just sneak under the table, you come in, and you're like, oh, hey.
Like, hey, no, don't ask this guy.
Oh, that's so
I was so fucking
So I want to give you an opportunity to plug whatever your handles, where we can find you, what shows you're doing, if you're doing anything.
Oh yeah, I have a website. It's clairebearpears.com.
Nice.
I paid for that name on purpose. And my Instagram is also Claire Bear Pears. And my Twitter is also Claire Bear Pears. So you can follow me on that.
Dope.
And check out my website. And yeah, and I have a YouTube, but it's Claire Bear Pears. And it's on my website if you want to check it out. And I have like some stand up. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, this was fun. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.